Max Verstappen finished second in Hungary, 15.080 seconds behind Lando Norris, after qualifying sixth and spinning on Saturday. Then the theory exploded. A hidden Red Bull upgrade supposedly transformed Verstappen's race, exposed Ferrari's weakness, and revealed what destroyed Lewis Hamilton's entire weekend. But the confirmed evidence points in the opposite direction. There is no verified hidden upgrade, no secret technical breakthrough, and no proven connection between Verstappen's result and Hamilton's penalties. Verstappen himself admitted, "I don't understand how we are second." Then he delivered the warning Red Bull cannot ignore. When instead of the tires degrading, your car is degrading, then you have a big problem. Hamilton's race was not destroyed by a mysterious Red Bull development. It was damaged by confirmed penalties, including a 3-place grid drop and a 5-second sanction after he was recorded at 80.1 km/h in an 80 km/h pit lane. So why are these two completely different stories being connected? And what did Verstappen's second place really expose about Red Bull, Ferrari, and Hamilton's Hungarian nightmare? The answer destroys the hidden upgrade theory. Subscribe to the channel. To understand why this hidden upgrade theory became so powerful, you have to begin with the contradiction at the center of Verstappen's race. He finished second. But almost nothing else about the weekend looked like second-place performance. Verstappen qualified sixth. He spun during a difficult Saturday. Red Bull admitted after qualifying that it did not have the pace to match Ferrari and McLaren. Then, one day later, Verstappen appeared on the podium. From the outside, that looks like transformation. It looks like Red Bull found something overnight. A setup breakthrough. A secret component. A hidden upgrade that suddenly unlocked the car. But Verstappen's own reaction destroyed that explanation. "I don't understand how we are second." That is not the language of a driver who felt a breakthrough. It is the language of a driver whose finishing position made more sense on paper than it did inside the cockpit. And that difference changes everything. When a team introduces a successful upgrade, the driver normally feels the improvement. The car becomes more stable. The balance becomes easier to predict. The driver can attack with greater confidence. The lap time begins matching the feeling. But Verstappen described the opposite. The Red Bull remained difficult. The handling problems continued. And instead of speaking about progress, he returned to one of the most alarming descriptions a driver can give. When instead of the tires degrading, your car is degrading, then you have a big problem. That sentence tells us far more than the second-place trophy. Tire degradation is expected. The rubber slowly loses performance. The driver adjusts. The team plans the pit stop. That is normal Formula 1. But when the car itself begins degrading, the driver loses something much more important than grip. He loses predictability. The balance begins changing. A corner that felt manageable several laps earlier becomes more difficult. The rear may stop feeling secure. The front may become harder to place. The driver begins correcting the car instead of attacking the circuit. Think of wearing running shoes that slowly change shape while you are moving. At first, they feel normal. Then one side begins collapsing. Your steps become less confident. You can continue running, but every movement costs more energy. That is much closer to the problem Verstappen described. And it is the exact opposite of a hidden upgrade suddenly fixing everything. A genuine breakthrough would make the car easier to use. Verstappen said the car was becoming harder to use. A genuine breakthrough would create confidence. Verstappen sounded confused. A genuine breakthrough would close the gap to the winner. Verstappen finished 15.080 seconds behind Norris. Second place looked strong. The race underneath it did not. That is where the theory begins falling apart. If Red Bull had discovered a major hidden improvement, Verstappen would not have struggled to explain the result. He would have known where the performance came from. He would have felt the car respond. The engineers would have had a clear direction. Instead, the strongest confirmed evidence is uncertainty. Red Bull had not suddenly become the fastest team. Verstappen had reached second while the car continued behaving like a problem. And that means the result may have depended on circumstances around him more than a true jump in Red Bull performance. The available information suggests that incidents and retirements elsewhere may have helped shape the final order. But the full sequence is not detailed enough to claim exactly how every position was gained. What can be said is much simpler. Verstappen did not believe the car had earned second through pure performance. His own confusion makes that clear. And this is where Hamilton becomes part of the rumor. The theory claims that Verstappen's supposed hidden upgrade exposed what destroyed Hamilton's race. But there is no confirmed technical connection between those two stories. No verified Red Bull component has been identified. No evidence shows that Verstappen's car revealed a Ferrari weakness. No data proves that one development on the Red Bull explained Hamilton's problems. The connection sounds dramatic because the results were different. Verstappen finished second. Hamilton's weekend went in the opposite direction. So people search for one technical explanation linking both drivers. But two events happening during the same Grand Prix do not automatically share the same cause. That is one of the oldest traps in Formula One analysis. One driver performs better than expected. Another suffers a disappointing result. Then a new component, setup choice, or strategic theory is placed between them. The story begins sounding complete. But a complete story still requires evidence. And here, the evidence is missing. The hidden upgrade is not confirmed. The technical link to Hamilton is not confirmed. And Verstappen's own description does not support the idea that Red Bull suddenly found the key. In fact, his words point toward the opposite conclusion. Red Bull's second place may have hidden how serious the car's problems remained. That is the real revelation. Not that Verstappen received a secret advantage. That Verstappen may have carried a difficult car to a result it did not naturally deserve. And that is far more important for Red Bull. Because a hidden upgrade could be repeated. A rescued result may not be. A successful development gives the team something reliable. A confusing podium gives the team questions. Why was the car so difficult in qualifying? Why did Verstappen spin? Why did the handling remain poor through much of the race? Why did the car feel as though it was deteriorating? And why did the final position look so much stronger than the actual pace? Those questions cannot be answered by simply pointing to second place. Red Bull needs to understand the process behind the result. A championship team cannot rely on finishing positions it cannot explain. It needs repeatable performance. It needs a car that behaves consistently. It needs to know what will happen when the circuit changes, the temperature moves, or the tires enter a different phase. Hungary gave Red Bull none of that certainty. It gave the team a trophy. It did not give the team proof of progress. And Laurent Mekies had already warned after qualifying that Red Bull's performance could vary significantly from one weekend to another. He said that if the team failed to get everything exactly right, it could slip backward very easily. Those comments came on Saturday. They were not a post-race explanation of Verstappen's second place. That distinction matters. There is no confirmed dramatic statement from Mekies after the race. No verified declaration that Red Bull had discovered a breakthrough. No evidence that the team had unlocked sudden speed. His confirmed comments described fragility. A car that needed everything to align. A package that could move backward quickly. And Hungary showed exactly what that fragility looked like. Sixth in qualifying. A spin. A difficult race. Then second place. Those pieces do not create a comfortable picture. They create a contradiction. And Verstappen's reaction exposed it. The classification said Red Bull was close to the front. The 15-second gap said otherwise. The podium suggested recovery. The car's behavior suggested survival. The final position suggested progress. The driver suggested confusion. That is why the hidden upgrade theory is so tempting. It offers a simple answer. Red Bull changed something. Verstappen became fast. Hamilton's race was exposed. Everything connects. But the truth supported by the available information is much less convenient. No hidden upgrade is confirmed. No sudden transformation is confirmed. No technical link to Hamilton is confirmed. And Verstappen himself questioned how the result had even happened. That leaves one conclusion Red Bull cannot ignore. The second place may have said more about Verstappen than it said about the car. He remained dangerous. He found a way through a difficult weekend. He converted chaos into a podium. But the Red Bull still lacked predictability. It still lacked the qualifying pace of Ferrari and McLaren. And it still finished a long way behind Norris. That is impressive for Verstappen. It is deeply uncomfortable for Red Bull. Because a team cannot build its future around one driver rescuing the car every time the package falls outside its operating window. Eventually, the circumstances will not help. A rival will complete a clean race. The strategy will not open a door. The circuit will punish instability more severely. And when that happens, the result will begin matching the underlying performance. That is the risk hidden behind Verstappen's second place. The result may have delayed the appearance of the real problem. A worse finishing position would have forced Red Bull to confront the weakness immediately. Second place can create relief. It can make the weekend appear rescued. It can hide the urgency. But Verstappen refused to allow that. I don't understand how we are second. That sentence was not celebration. It was a warning to the team. Do not trust the position. Do not assume the car has improved. Do not treat this podium as proof that the direction is correct. Because the driver still felt the weakness. And the weakness did not disappear when the trophy arrived. That may be what Red Bull must study most carefully. Not an unverified telemetry graph. Not a rumored hidden component. The gap between the result and the driver's experience. Formula One cars produce enormous amounts of data. But the driver remains one of the most important sources of information. He feels every vibration, every movement, every change in balance, every moment when the car stops responding as expected. And Verstappen's message was clear. The car was not becoming easier. It was becoming more difficult. That means the real problem may be broader than one technical area. It may involve how the package behaves as the race develops, how the balance changes as fuel burns away, how the tires interact with the car, how stable the platform remains over a long stint. The source does not identify one confirmed mechanical cause, so no specific explanation can be treated as fact. But the general warning is unmistakable. The Red Bull was not giving Verstappen the consistency he needed. And without consistency, even raw speed becomes difficult to use. A car may produce one strong sector, then lose balance in the next. It may feel manageable on fresh tires, then become unpredictable later. It may show potential in one condition, then collapse when the conditions shift. That is what makes a narrow operating window so dangerous. The car is not permanently slow. It is unreliable in how it delivers its speed. And Verstappen cannot build confidence around something that keeps changing. That is why his second place should concern Red Bull more than an ordinary podium. He achieved the result while openly questioning it. The team gained points. It did not gain certainty. And certainty is what development requires. Red Bull needs to know whether the next change will improve the package or simply move the weakness somewhere else. It needs to know whether the balance problem can be controlled. It needs to know whether Verstappen can trust the car through an entire race. Until those answers arrive, every strong result will carry doubt. Was the car truly competitive? Or did Verstappen create the illusion? Was the setup improved? Or did the race simply unfold in his favor?